Let's go ahead and multiply this binomial by a single term. And the single term is called a monomial, in case you care about the terminology. So we're going to use the distributive property here, and we're going to multiply the square root of 6 times the square root of 8. And I'm just going to do it like that for starters, and then the square root of 6 times square root of 2. 6 times 2. And now I'm going to find all the factors of these. 6 is 2 times 3. Those are both primes, so I can stop there. 8 is 2 times 4. 4 is 2 times 2. And now I've got all my factors for those. 6 again is 2 times 3. And then we've just got a 2, so I'm just going to circle that for the primes. Now I can group all these things together in groups of 2, because I can pull out every 2 that I find. So there's 2 2's there. I know I'll be able to pull out a 2 there, and then also here. And then we've got a pair of 2's here as well. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight the leftover values so we don't lose them. Oh, that's a little bit dark. Let me do something lighter. Let's do this one. Where are we? Okay, this 3 and this 3. Okay, now we can take out a 2 here. So I'm going to do 2, and this 2 times 2, and then I've got a square root of 3 left over here, plus I can take out a 2. That's this one. And then I've got a radical 3. Now, 2 times 2 is 4, so I've got 4 times a radical 3 plus 2 times a radical 3. And I can combine these together. I got 4 radical 3's plus 2 radical 3's, so I'm going to end up with 6 radical 3's, and that is the answer. So now let's multiply a binomial times a binomial. It sounds a little more difficult. You just have to really keep track of what you're doing. But it's fine. I don't know, I kind of like it. It's like a puzzle. And we're going to do square root of 5 plus square root of 6 times the square root of 5 minus the square root of 6. And when you have the same thing inside of the parentheses, except it's just the sign that's different, I know that I'm going to lose 2 terms. 2 terms are going to go away. So these are kind of fun. Once you start seeing this kind of a problem, they're kind of fun to work. So we're going to start out, we're going to multiply this term here. Let me get a highlighter. This term first by each of those. So let's do that first. So we got square root of 5 times the square root of 5, and that's just going to be 5. Okay, and then square root of 5 times a negative square root of 6 is going to be minus the square root of 30, because it's square root of 5 times 6, that's square root of 30. And then plus, now I'm going to be doing this times all of this. So I've got square root of 6 times square root of 5 is again going to be the square root of 30. And then square root of 6 times a negative square root of 6 is going to be a negative 6. Okay? And hopefully, I'm not going too fast here. Hopefully that's making sense, because we have square root of 6. I'm just going to do this off to the side here. Square root of 6 times square root of 6 is equal to square root of 36, and square root of 36 is equal to 6, right? Because anytime you have two things that are the same under a radical, then you get to group them and pull out, take out one of them. Okay? So we have a negative, and we can do plus and negative if that helps. It helps me. So I got a negative square root of 30 and a positive square root of 30, so these go away. And I'm left with 5 minus 6, which equals a negative 1, and that's our answer. Okay, let's do another one, because we want to make sure that we understand this. Let's do 2 plus the square root of 3 times 4 plus the square root of 2. Okay, again, I'm going to take this term and I'm going to multiply it by these terms. So I'm going to take 2 times 4, and that gives me 8. And 2 times the square root of 2 is going to be plus 2 square root of 2. Now, I want to multiply this square root of 3 times all of this. So plus, everything is adding here. Square root of 3 times 4. And I'm just going to reverse the way they're listed there. 4 times square root of 3. And then plus square root of 3 times square root of 2 is a square root of, and I'll write it out this way so you just make sure you see it easier. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it because, so we've got 8 plus 2 square root of 2 plus 4 square root of 3 plus the square root of 6. And there is nothing else I can do. These are all, this is a prime, this is a prime, 2's square root of 2, square root of 3 are both primes, and then I can't, there's no perfect square inside of 6. So we're done. That's the answer right there. Okay, let's do one more so that we are absolutely sure we can do this. And I would you might even want to pause the video and try this yourself before watching me do it, or even after I do it. I always found it really helpful to work the same problem over and over until I just absolutely got it. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to multiply this times all of this first. So we've got the square root of 7 times 3, and I'm going to put the 3 in front there. And then plus the square root of 7 times square root of 7 is just 7. And now I'm going to multiply the 2 by all of this. And that's going to be 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 times the square root of 7 is 2 square root of 7. And let's add it together. I've got 3 square roots of 7 and 2 square roots of 7, so I can add those together. I'm going to get 5 times the square root of 7, and then plus 7 plus 6 is 13. And that's it. That's the answer. So I hope this helps, and I will see you in the next one.